my background is education, and I thought I was being a really clear communicator. I was being really clear. I was not being persuasive.
Welcome to Seven Figure Copy, the show where we refine your messaging so it reflects the level you're now operating at with clarity and confidence. I'm Gina Whitehouse, your expert conversion copywriter, and this podcast is for established, expert-led female business owners who know their work is exceptional but suspect their website and sales copy may be underselling the caliber of what they deliver. In each episode, we'll explore how strategic, ethical copy elevates your website, sales pages, and core messaging so your words communicate trust before someone ever books a consult or starts a conversation with you. If you're ready for a trusted partner who helps you clearly articulate what you do and why it matters, then you're in the right place. Hi, everybody. This is Gina Whitehouse, your expert conversion copywriter, messaging strategist, and the host of the Seven Figure Copy podcast. Thank you so much for joining me today. This episode is actually part of a 6-part series. So if you're just hopping in now and you haven't listened to the previous episodes, after you listen to this, go back to episode 51 and you can start there. So if you've been listening to this series, you've probably started to see a pattern. And that pattern is that at a certain level, your messaging starts to matter in a different way. So today I'm joined by Katherine Schultz. She is a client of mine and she's the founder of the 3D Worldview Survey. And this survey helps leaders in Christian schools understand if what they're teaching is actually taking root in the lives of their students so that they can make more informed, confident decisions about curriculum and school programs as they've moved forward. So when Katherine and I first connected, she had something that I see often. She had a great product and service. She had interest, but things were not converting the way they should, and she knew it. And that's why she reached out to me. Now, when she reached out to me, she thought she needed help with her emails. But actually, when we looked at everything together, which includes her homepage, her messaging, and her overall positioning, we realized actually that the issue wasn't just in the follow-up. It wasn't in the emails. It was in how the message was being communicated from the beginning. So in this conversation, we're going to walk through a few things here. We're going to walk through what felt off before, what she thought the problem was, and what we actually uncovered. And we're also going to talk about what changed once her messaging became more clear and more aligned with the level of her work. So if you've ever felt like you're doing all the right things, but still something is not clicking, then this episode today is going to give you some insider insight, and it's going to help you see why maybe things aren't clicking or converting the way you would like to. Hi, Katherine. I am so glad you are here to join me today on the Seven Figure Copy podcast. I'm excited for this conversation.
I'm excited too, Gina. I really want to let people know how much I appreciate what you've done for me and the work I've been doing with you.
Oh, thank you. Well, let's just get right into it. So before we work together, you said something that I think a lot of business owners can relate to. You had people interested in your offer. You had people even joining your email list, but it wasn't converting the way you wanted it to. What did that feel like in your business at that time? And even before you answer that, just give me a little bit, explain to the audience here what it is that you do and what your offer is.
So I work with Christian schools who want to understand their students' worldview so they can push forward in areas of belief, behaviors, and heart orientation. And I do that with a digital survey. So when I was working through trying to reach those people, I didn't really feel like I was making a connection that was working. I was getting steady interest, but I had a really low conversion disconnect there with people. So I reached out to you after having connected with you in a couple of social media contexts, and then we had some email exchange, and you did some just light work for me. And I said, I think I need more help because I need a way to get past the complications and close more clearly with schools. So I needed help figuring out what I was missing.
Very good. Yes. And I do remember that. And I think when we connected, like you said, we did a little bit of work together, and I believe we did a little copy audit, right?
We did.
We did that. Yeah. We did that of your homepage.
We did a copy audit actually of my about page, which I then revised on my own and came back and said, that's such a good work. I need to do more.
Yes. Very good. So at that point, where do you think the breakdown was, like in the conversions? Were you focused more on your emails? Were you focused on the follow-up, or just trying to get the survey in front of more people?
So I think I was really kind of all over the place. And what became clear was I needed to have a better response, even in my own materials, so that people who did find me better understood what I was doing, what I was offering, so that when I had email follow-up, I had a clear message for them. Even when I had social media outreach, I had a clear message behind the initial interest.
And when we started looking at everything together during our initial chat, we looked at your homepage, we looked at some of your content and your emails. I want to ask you, what surprised you about what was actually missing?
You know, my background is education, and I thought I was being a really clear communicator. I was being really clear.
Yeah.
I was not being persuasive. And that was a missing link that I hadn't realized was even there. I needed to be better about communicating what their hesitations might be and how I could help them get over those hesitations. I needed to be more decision focused and help figure out why they should make a decision now. So much of what I'm doing is on a much longer time frame. I have to do a lot of trust building and a lot of waiting for the right time of year. So I had to figure out how to help them make a decision now so that we could keep working together in the future.
Yeah, you touched on something so important there. And I talk a lot about this in this season about how we are so in our business. So let me ask you, because you're good at teaching and you're good at explaining. And like you said, you are so good at communicating, but not necessarily writing copy in a persuasive way, right? It's not your expertise. So do you think that other business owners really struggle to step out of their business and sell their offers because they are so in their business at the micro level?
I think that's part of it. I think the language we use ourselves within our business, we know what all those words mean. We know what all the terms mean. We know what all of the underlying messages are, but our audience doesn't know that. We need to help them understand that. And you helped me step aside and see what was not clear so that I could better actually do that clarity. I needed someone from the outside to help me do that.
Yeah. Gosh, so many things, good things there. I could go off on so many tangents. It just brings up like so many things in my mind. Because I even have that issue in my own business. And I've said before, I have a problem writing for myself because I'm so in it, and we get so many like 100 layers deep, especially in our services and our offers, that sometimes it's hard to clearly communicate and in a persuasive way to the outsiders, right? To the people that we want to sell to. And I even, have that issue too, and have to step back. And a lot of times too, like we get all in the weeds of like the technical jargon,
right?
So we got to like step back from that and say, okay, how is the average person going to read this? And I actually have a project coming up right now where I can think of the person and I know I'm going to give her a checklist for her audit of the things that she needs to change. And I need to go back and do like a once through and say, okay, is this going to be, am I talking the conversion copy jargon here, the technical stuff? Or is this really she going to understand what I'm saying here? Right. So I know we all get there and we're all so deep into it. So it's really helpful to have someone come in on the outside.
Right.
So one of the things that we talked about when we were going through the process of running the sales page and the homepage and even doing the email audits is that your messaging wasn't fully addressing the kinds of questions or hesitations that your buyers have after or before they make a decision. So what stood out to you about that? And did you have any aha moments? And in this context too, who is your buyer? Explain that to us a little bit.
Sure. Well, the ideal client I'm trying to reach is a leader in a Christian school. That might be the head of school, or it might be a head of a division or a department or the Bible department, or even just the Bible teacher. So I realized I was answering my questions, but I wasn't really paying attention to what their questions were. So I wasn't answering their questions. And I wasn't doing that on purpose. I just hadn't gotten clarity on what their questions were. So the process you went through, actually interviewing some of my clients so that you got their language and their questions instead of mine, really helped to reach the people I was trying to reach. And the people you talked to, obviously they were happy to share because they're happy with my product. So I wanted to be able to use what they were seeing as a way to help others get their questions answered. So that was really helpful.
let me ask, what did you think about some of the answers they gave? Like, was there anything that surprised you after we went through that process of digging in and doing the research and I interviewed them?
They're people I know pretty well and work with, so it didn't feel surprising, but it felt effective for the first time because I put it in that context. Instead of just being in a conversation trying to help them, we had reversed that. So they were trying to help me, and they were willing to do that with clarity because they believed in what we were trying to do together. So that trust had been established, and I really found that helpful.
So as we worked through your messaging and your emails, we even worked on redoing your lead magnet and your website copy. What started to feel clearer for you about how to communicate the value of the survey? What did you feel what was missing before, and what do you feel is clear now?
I think I have a much better understanding of my whole customer journey, and that's language that we in business use. It's certainly not the language that a school context uses. So I needed to get my head inside how to take someone from first seeing what this even could be all the way through to this is what our school actually wants to use as we're working with spiritual formation in our students. And that clarity from beginning to end and all of the pieces that needed to align with each other instead of just being independent of each other. I think going through the individual pieces of that on my own would have taken me much longer, and I wouldn't have had the through line of the messaging in all of it. So that really helped to be clear, to be complete, to actually cover the things I needed to. And I think it helped me to see I wasn't just trying to build confidence and trust. I needed to actually give them clarity on what the next step was. So that really made a difference, that I had to guide them through the whole process more deliberately.
Yeah. If you've ever thought, my business has evolved, but my website still feels pieced together, or my expertise is strong, but my messaging doesn't reflect the level I operate at, I want you to know right now that you're not alone. Every established business owner reaches this point where your growth just outpaces your message. And when your message doesn't match the offer or the service you provide now, it costs you credibility, clarity, and premium opportunities. So I'm here today to tell you that I want to help you go from second guessing how you're presenting your offers and expertise to showing up online with messaging that feels cohesive and aligned with the caliber of your work. Today, I'm inviting you to book a 30-minute complimentary copy chat with me to determine whether you need a strategic copy audit or high converting done for you copy that finally reflects the level you're operating at. Go to the show notes today to book your call or visit www.whitehousesm.com. And again, I think it just goes back to having someone too just come out and step back at the macro level, right? Because you're in the micro level of it. And some things that come to my thoughts here is that, I think you originally came to me to look at the emails, right? And then when we talked in our initial, I call it the 30-minute complimentary copy chat.
Right.
It's a mouthful to say. We were okay, we're looking at, emails, but then we looked over your website and we said, okay, but the foundation here, there's a lot of big holes, right? You weren't necessarily using that language of your ideal client. Also, it was just on the top of my mind, answering those hesitations and objections clearly. And then, like you said, taking them through that customer journey. So we decided to start with the homepage and the sales page, but I also included that, we still need to look at the emails. And so during that time, I did an email audit. So I did an audit of, I think it was five or six emails that you had about that. Right. Okay. 5. But that email sequence came after your lead magnet. And what I mean by lead magnet, for those of you who are listening, as business owners, we want to get people onto our email list, right? So we can keep communicating to them, and we want to communicate the value of what we have. So eventually they do buy. And so when I looked at the lead magnet, I saw even some conversion elements in there, right? We were like, okay, so these few things aren't clear. We need to add a few of these. So we actually even went back and we wrote the whole thing,
I was
right?
I was stuck in teacher mode.
Yes. You're
so
stuck
all
teacher mode.
I was doing was still trying to explain. If they understand, they will buy.
Right.
No, they will not.
I know.
That's not enough.
we went back and worked that too. And the reason why I bring that up is because it's a whole ecosystem. Because I really felt like, Katherine, I really felt that, okay, I could go back and I could rewrite those emails for you, which we actually ended up doing, right? The first part of our proposal was just the homepage and sales page. And then after I did the audit, you came back and we were like, no, we need to write these emails. And we actually had some emails that we added to it, some testimonial emails, emails that specifically answered objections and hesitations, the FAQs and all of that. Right. And so when we put that together, we said, okay, we're going to have, I think it ended up being like 8 or 9 emails total and rewriting them. Mm-hmm. I approached you and I said, you know what? I mean, I don't know if I exactly said this, but it was in my head. And I thought, it's going to be an injustice to you if I go and write your emails, but the top part of your funnel, which is the lead magnet, the PDF that you had that had a sample of the 10 questions on your survey, if someone downloads that and they don't understand it, like they're just going to have a blind eye to the emails.
Right.
You know? So then we added that too. So anyways, I bring it up because it is a whole ecosystem. We have to look at all the different parts, and that's what we did here. And I feel like it really came together well. So anyways.
I thought of a lead magnet the way you think of samples at the grocery store. Like if you give me a bite of the pizza, I will go immediately to the shelf and buy the whole pizza and take that home with me. So I thought a sample of my service, a sample of the questions off of my survey was all they would need, was this taste. And I didn't think about what I really needed to do. I'm sorry, I'm stuck in a metaphor moment and I'm making it up as we go.
So maybe keep going. Keep going.
But what I really needed to do was think about it more as I have an ingredient and I need to give you the whole recipe, not just this one thing. So
yes, it's
no longer buying a sample of pizza. It's maybe the sample was the pizza dough and you're giving me the recipe to make the whole thing, but I need to think about the instructions that go along with it. So I was very grateful that you saw that need and were actually able to help me get through that with that part of that ecosystem.
Yeah. And I think it turned out good. And it just, there were just the things that were missing were even like at the end, like, here's how to reach me next. Or if you went through these 10 questions and now you're filling this, or you saw these gaps, you had questions here, then this may signify that you need to really go through the 100 questions or whatever it is, right? In the survey. 73. So we kind of, 73. So we got to keep pushing them, right?
Right.
To take that next action instead of just assuming, right? And again, we just assume, 10 questions. Right. Yeah, give me the 73. Yeah. Right. But we have to give them the nudge.
I'm in a B2B world where I'm trying to reach the head of school, but the survey is really for their staff or their students.
Yeah.
So I had to change the language around what I was doing to be addressing clearly who my ideal client was. I'm not trying to actually directly sell them on the survey. I'm trying to sell them on what they can do with the survey in their school. The survey for them is the avenue to get to deeper biblical worldview formation in their students. And I needed to get that message through clearly, helping them understand it's not just beliefs, it's not just behaviors, it's not just the heart orientation, it's all three of those things together in this concept. And so I appreciated how deeply you dove into understanding what my work is about in order to do a good job with the presentation of it to my clients.
Well, thank you. So this question I want to ask. So after I audited your email sequence, you mentioned that the feedback during the audit felt painfully honest, but really helpful. Explain to me what that meant.
Well, that was after having just read your initial email feedback. It was I think it was just the audit, right? That's what it was.
We haven't even gotten to the homepage or the sales page copy. Like you hadn't seen it yet.
So it was a few sentences in and I thought, oh, this is so true. And I needed to hear it. And those of us in successful professional world, we're not used to not being successful. And it's hard when we transfer into an area where we don't have expertise. We expect that being an expert in one field ought to transfer immediately into expertise in another. And we step back, we know that's just silly. There is no more expert in me in something new to me than there is in anyone else who's new to that. And I may or may not have a natural affinity for it, but I certainly can't step up onto a basketball court and be an immediate success.
Neither can I
will never be that. There is no way that I'm 60 years old. I'm never going to be that. But the idea that I can gather around me people who are experts at what they do, that's not new. So I should be able to be comfortable with that. So it takes a little moment of humility to say, yes, I need help. And yes, it's honest. And I can either be hurt by that or I can let it be helpful.
Very true. And thank you for not being hurt by it. And I really do my best on my end to give my recommendations graciously.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I feel on my side of it, as someone's paying me to do this, I better be, I want to give you the list of all the things. Like I'm very, I really try to do that. So I won't go too much into this, but for some of you listening, you may know, because I shared it on one of the episodes, my professional background is actually in architecture. So I went to school for 5 years to become an architect. And, I went through that whole process. But every single year from like first quarter of first year, you had your class where you did your projects, your direct architecture classes, your lab classes. And at the end of each quarter, you had to present to a panel of architects. And we call them crits, like critiques. And it was like, if you, how would I say this, didn't harden up really fast, it would be very hard to get through the 5 years. And in fact, they told us like on the first day of school that, what did they say? I think they said at least half of you will not be here at the end. So you had, for 3 quarters every year, for 5 years, I had to sit there and like listen to people rip my stuff apart. And there were some professors that were really good at it, or they're really gracious at it, and then there were some that were just kind of mean about it. So I'm very much like, I want to be as gracious as I can. And I'm always very happy when I have a client who comes back and even though you said it painfully honest, you were grateful for it. So yeah, that was good.
Well, I think about it. We all have blind spots.
We do.
We can't see into them. That's why we call them blind spots.
Yes.
But somebody else can shine a light in there. They can shine a little gentle candlelight, or they can shine a glaring spotlight.
Yeah.
And maybe we need some of each sometimes to get our attention. But we need someone who can do that effectively. And as you say, graciously.
Yeah. So even though you're still in the process of implementing everything, because right now I know you don't have the copy on your website, and that's okay. What the date today, we're in May 2026 recording this. Okay. I know it's going to be up soon. What already feels different in how you think about your messaging and your sales process and your confidence going forward with your survey?
Well, one of the reasons it's not up on the website is because I can't do just that. I'm a one-person business, so I'm having to do all of this myself. That's why outsourcing the copywriting was an effective choice for me, because that got it moved along. But in the midst of trying to get the website updated, I'm still doing all of the communications that I would do each week. I'm still writing a weekly blog post and a weekly email to my subscribers and my potential clients and clients. So when I'm working through that, I'm using the language that you helped me with to compose and inform what I'm doing in all of that new material. And I'm thinking about those things more aligned with, I'm trying to drive toward decisions, even in the places where, like on my blog, I'm mostly trying to serve and help. I'm not trying to sell. That's just not who I am.
Right.
As I said, my main hat is educator. And so I'm trying to do that. But I hope, more effectively incorporating decision making and decision advancement, even in those places.
That's good. And what you said about incorporating what we've already done together. So I think a lot of people don't realize this, especially like if I work on a sales page with someone, you're getting like almost usually 6,000 words on your sales page, right?
Yeah.
That's so much content that you can take there and break it up and use it in your email sequences, even in your blog posts. Like even in every blog post you do, even though it's educational, it should have some kind of conversion element that's part of it at the end too. If you want to hear more, or like you're addressing objections and hesitations too in those blog posts. So it's there. And so it's what I like people to realize is that it's an investment. It's just something that you're going to be able to use over and over and over again. It's not just for the one dedicated, this is just for your sales page. No, it could be used on different pages on your website, when you're emailing people, any kind of marketing materials that you put out there. If you're promoting yourself on social media, it just keeps working for you over and over again.
Right. It is. It's great. It's an ongoing resource already, even though it's not fully implemented in its original purpose quite yet. I'm so close. I hope by the time this airs,
you're almost there,
that it'll be right there.
It's going to be there soon. I know it will be.
Yes, it will.
So at the end of every guest episode, I always like to ask this question. So what's one responsibility you've let go of or you plan to let go of that's allowed your business to expand, make a bigger impact, or attract better fit clients and customers?
Well, it's really obvious because this is what you do. But what I really had to let go of was trying to do all of my messaging alone by myself. I needed help with that. So I had to stop assuming that being an expert in what I do in my business made me an effective communicator in everything about my business, because it didn't. I had to stop holding on to, I can figure it out myself.
Oh, yeah. I do that a lot.
I wanted to get more clarity from an outsider's perspective so that I could more effectively communicate with outsiders who aren't part of my business world yet. And the result is a much clearer entry point. And because it's not actively live yet, I don't know that it's been effective at getting me a better fit client, but it seems from what I can see like it should move me in that direction. So I'm hopeful.
Very good. Very good. Those were all really great things. So I want to end here. I want you to just tell us how people can reach out to you. I know that not everyone listening here is, your ideal target audience, and that's okay. But you never know. There's someone here that might want to learn more about what you do. So share a little bit about that and how you can be reached.
So as I said, I work mostly with leaders in Christian schools who want to understand how their students' worldview, beliefs, behaviors, and heart orientation align or don't align with what the school is trying to train and work toward. And I do that through a digital survey called the 3-Dimensional Worldview Survey. So you can reach me at the website 3dworldviewsurvey.com.
Okay, and I have one more question for you, because I want you to tell me what makes this survey different than other surveys that are already out there.
Oh, I'm so glad you asked. Because what I think makes it different is, in particular, the heart orientation dimension. There's a lot of surveys that focus on what someone believes. It's really just a test of theology. And that's a valuable thing, because if we don't have the right beliefs, that won't work. But there are other surveys that just are asking what you do, what behaviors are going on, and they don't necessarily connect those things to a person's belief. They just ask behavior. And what I thought needed to be more effectively accomplished was to say, all right, there's beliefs and there's behaviors, and we should connect those. But there's this missing piece, and that's about what's motivating us toward those beliefs and behaviors. And that's the dimension that I refer to as the heart orientation dimension. This worldview survey addresses those things and puts them all together into a report that school leaders can use to say either this is how we can better disciple this particular student, or this is how we can better teach and train through our teachers toward a class, so they can look at it as an individual or as a program development tool.
Very good, because this is not a 1D survey.
That is
this
correct.
This is a 3D, right? We're not just looking at beliefs, but we're looking at the three things: the beliefs, the behaviors, and the heart orientation. So
yes,
I just wanted to make sure people knew what the difference was in case there was a question. So.
Thank you. Yeah, and maybe they're a parent in a school, maybe they're a school leader, maybe they're just connected in some other way. We'd be happy to have a conversation. So reach out. That'd be great.
Great.
And thank you, Gina. I appreciate the work that you did in making it easier for me to have that message be clear so that I can reach the right people.
Well, you're very welcome. I really love working on this project for you. It was just something I really dug into, and I really enjoyed it. So thank you so much. And thank you for chatting with me today and sharing your experience.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for spending time with me today on this episode of Seven Figure Copy. If this conversation resonated and you know that your messaging, that your copy is not matching the caliber of the wonderful work that you do, then please reach out to me at whitehousesm.com to book a 30-minute complimentary copy chat. Let's see if we're the right fit for each other and if I'm the right conversion copywriter for you. And I'll see you next time.
This podcast is produced, mixed, and edited by Cardinal Studio. For more information about how to start your own podcast, please visit www.cardinalstudio.co or email Mike at cardinalstudio.co. You can also find the details in the show notes.